Burruss and Todd took y'all. Oh my God, we talked about it the other day. At the end of their divorce, now they're saying, y'all, people got the details, y'all, exclusive details of the financial settlement that ended their beautiful, messy legal battle.
So Kandi Burruss is breaking down after a court ruling allegedly ordered her to pay Todd $15 million in their divorce settlement. Kandi tried to keep this divorce sealed so nobody could see what was really going on. But the judge refused to keep it hidden, and now the money drama, the custody battle, and Todd's moves are all out in the open all at once. And once that door opened, everything started spilling out. Because this was never just a quiet breakup. This turned into a situation where Kandi is fighting to control what the public sees, while the court is basically saying, no, not everything gets hidden. A source inside the courtroom said they tried to seal the entire case, even brought up stalking concerns and protecting the kids. But the judge didn't fully agree. Now pause there, because if someone is pushing that hard to keep things private, it usually means there's something they don't want picked apart. And right after that, the internet started doing exactly what she didn't want. They started building their own story. Because online, people were already saying Todd might walk away with serious money, custody leverage, and more than people expected. And it got so loud that Kandi had to come out and shut it down herself. She literally said people were making up crazy numbers and stories about the settlement. So now you've got two realities. The public is seeing a messy money situation forming. Kandi is saying that's not true. And when those two things don't match, people start digging deeper, because the truth usually sits somewhere in the middle. Now, before the rumors even got that far, the divorce had already turned tense behind the scenes. Kandi went to court claiming she was the one handling everything for the kids. School, medical, daily life, all of it. And at the same time, she accused Todd of showing a daddy daycare image online that didn't reflect reality. So now the story starts shifting. Because this is no longer just about two people splitting up, this becomes about who's really doing the work and who's just showing it online. And that's where Todd steps in and flips the whole picture. Because he didn't deny staying in the guest house, but he said he was pushed out of the main home. He claimed Kandi had his stuff moved without warning and that he chose not to fight it just to keep things calm. And he also made it clear he was the one in Georgia with the kids while she was working in New York. So now you've got two completely different versions of the same household. Kandi saying she's carrying everything, Todd saying he's the one holding things together, and once that kind of split hits court, it doesn't stay simple, because now the judge has to decide what's real. And that's where things get emotional, because Kandi was seen getting choked up talking about her kids having to split time between both parents.
Well, I know that was not, it's a very emotional thing for Riley that, she grew up with her dad, not really involved. Even though now they are, cool and they're talking now, but, she's still trying to heal. You know what I mean? So that was an emotional thing. The thought of, my kids having to split time is emotional.
And you can feel it in that moment. And this isn't just about money anymore. This is about losing control over how her family looks and functions. And right when she's dealing with that, she's also dealing with something else. Being watched. Because she said bloggers were literally logging into Zoom court sessions, watching her face while she's going through this.
We literally would have a court session, and bloggers were logging on and were on our Zoom court.
You got to be kidding me.
I promise you. I promise you.
Okay, so now
they would file to be pressed in our Zoom court.
So
I'm sitting there, and you know how you on Zoom. Zoom is very personal. It's not like you just in the room and people off in the back. Like, you're literally in my face.
Right.
Now think about that. You're in court, dealing with your marriage ending, and at the same time, people are watching, taking notes, turning your life into headlines. So now it makes even more sense why she wanted everything sealed. But the problem is, not everyone on the other side agreed to that, which is why the judge didn't fully shut the public out. So now the pressure is coming from both sides, from the court and from the internet. Now, to really understand why this got so tense, you have to go back a little. Because Kandi already said this didn't happen overnight. She said the breakup had been building for a long time. And when she finally filed, she had no regrets.
I am up and down. And to be clear, yes, I filed Friday. But, this is something that, has been brewing for a while. So all the times you've been seeing me online like, all of that means nothing. I've been going through it, y'all. I've been going through it. Life has been lifing me, okay?
And she also admitted she'd been going through it for a while before the public even knew. So this wasn't sudden. This was pressure building behind closed doors until something specific happened. Because she later said there was one moment in July that made her say she couldn't do it anymore. She didn't say what it was, just that it changed everything. And that's where the story gets quiet, but heavy, because when someone refuses to say what happened, it usually means it was serious. And while she's keeping that part private, Todd is moving very differently in public, because not long after, he's online posting "Stay scheming energy" with a "whatever happens, happens" vibe. And then he jokes under her show promo saying she's not done. Now, to some people, that looked like harmless humor, but to others, it felt like he wasn't taking the situation seriously at all. And timing matters, because when people already believe there's money and custody tension, even a joke starts to feel like shade. And that's when people remembered something else. Todd had already asked for support earlier in the case, which means money was always part of this conversation, even if the exact numbers being thrown online weren't accurate. And now Kandi is saying they're dividing things fairly, trying to calm everything down.
We are dividing things fairly between us, what we made together.
But at the same time, the situation keeps pulling attention, because even their business got dragged into legal talk. Their restaurant had to settle a dispute and pay over $140,000. Now, that's not the cause of the divorce, but it adds to the bigger picture, because now you're looking at a relationship ending while money conversations are happening in multiple areas at once. So from the outside, it starts to look like everything is connected, and that makes the public even more curious. Now here's the part people don't talk about enough. Kandi isn't just dealing with a divorce, she's also dealing with her image. She even said she missed out on acting roles before because people saw her as just a reality star.
And then a day or two later, he calls me back and says, the network didn't approve you. And I was like, what? Why? What happened? And he said, they didn't want to look like they were stunt casting.
So now imagine trying to be taken seriously, while your personal life is being turned into headlines, court clips, and social media debates. It starts to feel like no matter what you do, the narrative controls you. And that might be the real reason this situation is hitting her so hard. Not just the split or the money talk, but the fact that she can't fully control how her story is being told anymore. Because once the court refuses to fully seal things, and bloggers are watching live, and the internet is building its own version of events, that control is gone. And that's what makes this whole thing heavier than people think. Because at the center of it all, you've got a marriage that had been breaking quietly, a custody fight that changed how both parents are seen, money rumors that won't stop spreading, and a public that keeps trying to piece everything together. So now the real question isn't even about how much money is involved, it's about what this divorce exposed. Because if Kandi tried this hard to keep it private, then what exactly is still sitting in those details that the public hasn't fully seen yet? And if the judge only partially protects the case, what happens when the rest slowly comes out? Because once